Well, damn. Well, thank you very much. You guys ready? You ready for war? You ready for war?
Boom. Honest answer. Is that too long?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, too long.
The intro, the music, maybe not, but it just consistently slowly growing like a cancerous tumor is
Well, I wanted people to associate this with you, like how you do.
me, like a cancerous tumor.
Remember your cancer scare all those years
Oh
ago?
God, those are fun times. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah, they were amazing. Those were amazing. That was the same time you got railed over the coals for your Mad Max review.
Was it the same time?
Around there, right? Maybe a year or two after.
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
I'm still here. Much to this. Hey, do you know whatever happened to all those journalists that wrote, oh, look at this crazy guy in the United States who said Mad Max is going to be feminist?
Probably are now homeless or are in debt or are
I've looked some of them up. It's fucking hilarious. And I've done some videos, and I really gotta go through a couple more because there's no shortage of the authors. So you just look it up and they're like nobodies and independent journal on their LinkedIn. It's like, okay, have fun living at home at 47.
I mean, I am killing it on Substack right now compared to journalists, to actual journalists. Remember those days when you and I compared Twitter with journalists, where it's like, are you kidding me?
Well, we've lived through that transition where we've gone. You'll always have the mainstream media, but we've gone through where, it was the mainstream media, and that, like if you were on CNN or you were on NBC or you were a journalist at the LA Times, that was big shit. And now it doesn't mean anything anymore. In part because they've been exposed for just being propagandists, but now you're on the internet and just being your dopey self, you're going to get more subscribers and followers and readers. And I've just found this out. The main news publication, main newspaper in the Twin Cities called the Star Tribune, they filed for bankruptcy like 10 years ago. And then now have been bought out by the guy who owns one of the professional sports teams in Minnesota. It just uses it for an advertising rate. And these people still think they're fucking journalists.
I know.
They still, it's like, no, it's over. You've lost. We are the media now. Matter of fact, I might just change that. I'm going to change.
Look at me. We're the media now.
We are the media now.
Hey. Cappy, what a wonderful hat. I love Buc-ee so much. I'm living down here in the
awesome.
South. Cappy, there's like 3 of them not too far from me, and they're all in the major highway system when you have to get out of the state. So no matter which way you go, I don't know. I'm new down here. I don't remember the names yet, but but there's quite a few of them. So there's no way that you can avoid one. And if anyone hasn't gone to a Buc-ee's, you must go to a Buc-ee's. They are amazing places.
I hit 3 of them on my last road trip, and it wasn't like I went on my way. They were there. And you're like, oh, I got to stop. You can't.
What do you think of their marketing strategy? Cappy?
What is they don't? I don't think they market. I think it's just good.
Well, I think their marketing is like the billboards. Like they put up a billboard like Buc-ee's 150 miles this way.
Right.
It kind of like gives the illusion. Well, not just the illusion because they are really awesome places. It's like, oh wow, like if they can afford to take out this advertising so far away. It must be really good. It kind of puts in your brain scarcity.
That's an ad. That's a strategy. Have you guys ever heard of Wall Drug?
No.
Oh yeah, in South Dakota.
Okay, so Wall Drug is on the way to South Dakota. So between God Almighty, Worthington, Minnesota, which is the only sizable town on that highway, you drive 600 miles straight west where there's nothing to see except these little billboards that couldn't have cost them more than a nickel. Wall Drug, 420 miles. Wall Drug, it builds it up, and then you get to Wall, and it's kitsch. It's coffee cups and shirts and all that other stuff. And by that time, your kids are like, I gotta stop at Wall Drug. Blah, 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 blah. So that's kind of the strategy. But with Buc-ee's, I'll tell you what it is. They are a good product at a fair price, and they have their shit together. That's it. That's all it is. And that's so rare now. It's through word of mouth that people are, you got to go to Buc-ee's. You got to go to Buc-ee's. And
dude, I have been made excited for Buc-ee's. Like, I can go to the States, meet my friends. All I want to do is go to Buc-ee's.
We will take you to a Buc-ee's.
Will you finally make me an honorary Gen Xer?
I went I went on a road trip last year and with one of my buddies from college, and he's never been like a road trip guy. He's never done it before. He's always flown places. And I was like, listen here, man, you got to come with me on one of these. And I was talking up Buc-ee's the entire time we're on the road trip, and he's kind of doing the thing. He's like, oh yeah, sure, Hawk. Yeah, all right. How good could this really be? And we finally get there. He's like, this place is fucking great. They're awesome. It's like, yeah, man.
Here's
real quick. Enough about Buc-ee's for now, because I do want to get in the topic because Mish doesn't have all the time in the
all right.
And after that, we can suck Buc-ee's dick, and we can name the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of Buc-ee's. But Mish, Chat of Arabia, for people who don't know, has an awesome Substack talking about navigating office politics. Absolutely great work. And I just wanted to get Mish on because, like, we know now about the women and women ain't shit and things like that. But most of you guys still have a job, which is perfectly fine. You want to be a good Samaritan, a valued member of society. But unfortunately, you will have to deal with, as Cappy once called them, raging assholes and boomer bosses. And I found to be Mish one of the most valuable writing when it comes to corporate, right next to Uncle Vaz, his former corporate land posts on the Merry Red Pill. So Mish has one post in particular about mastering the art of being liked by the right people. And Mish, if you so please, take it away. Why did you write this post?
Yeah, it's so throughout my career, I remember when I was very young, and I started very young, and I was very naive and dumb, and I thought that just being good at what you do and being, quote unquote smart and showing up on time and just doing your job is going to get you ahead in life. And that held me back so many years. I remember, like, for 3 years, I didn't get any merit increases. Like, my salary just stayed the same. My bonus was less than $1,000, and everyone else was getting paid anywhere between 10 to 30K. Because the right people were pissed off at me because I was obnoxious, because I was trying to play by the book and I wanted to follow all the rules, and I didn't play politics or lobby people to be on my side. Fast forward, I don't know how many now, 9 years later, I just got a promotion yesterday, 20% increase on my annual salary. My bonus is going to be a fat check. So, and all
That's
of that
check,
happened because,
by the way, not chick.
Yeah, check. I mean, like, a fat check is going to happen anyway.
Here's a congratulatory fat chick that no one wanted.
Yeah, but so that wouldn't happen, because usually promotions and bonuses, if the company doesn't have a structure, it's mostly if they like you or not, Even with the structure, it depends. If you have enough people liking you, if you lobbied enough people and played, by the rules, and had the people up top like you, even the ones at your level, because word, gets around, people talk. So,
I think a lot of guys
being charming, it's like it gets you like 80% ahead in life. You know, it opens so many doors for you, opportunities just by being liked, honestly, being charming. You know, 20% is just being competent, you know, if you just do enough.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people, a lot of guys underestimate how much being liked actually matters over being competent. And Rob always used to say, you can be, what was it? You can be a douche or you can be a fuck up, but you can't be both.
Yeah.
And people, when they are a douche, they cannot fuck up at all. The problem is, though, if you're just starting out or you're new in a company, you are bound to fuck up.
Yep.
You're just bound to fuck up. But playing by the rules and things like that, people often aren't going to like you because you're a bit of a pencil neck. And,
Exactly.
well, right there. And I know that Cappy has a lot of stories about this in the bank where he
an
knew
entire book of stories. Yes.
where the loans could not be made, but they forced you into it.
Well, they didn't force me. I just wrote the report, and they went ahead and lent anyway. But as per Chad's talking about, yeah, the fact that I stood in their way is where all of the friction came between me and my bosses back in my banking career. But the idea, and tell me if you guys think the same, it really is just an extension of middle school. I mean, cool. Chad put it brilliantly. Cool. Yeah, you put it brilliantly. Like they just like you. They want to like you. That's it. Fuck whether you do good at school. Fuck whether you're doing good in sports. Fuck whether you show up on time and all that. People really never grow up, and it really is an extension of school.
It's honestly a corporate and you know the working environment is just groups of people who like each other, and you want to be associated with those who have the most influence or power as much as you can, or at least, you know, be in their good graces. That's, you know, when it comes to corporate, if you know, play nice and you know, play the politics and say the right things, and in the beginning you show up on time and do whatever you're asked. And like I have so many Substack posts about being, you know, like, it's not managing your manager. It's some sort of managing your manager, but like, you know, doing things before, you know, they think about it. Like, be indispensable, basically.
Be irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable.
Well, that's a big one too. Hey, Nuke. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you. You're muted, Ryan.
No, stay muted. You don't have to. You don't have to try.
Damn you, hillbilly! Oh, that's awesome. Hello. You know what's funny too? So like it's got the band not for author, not for resale thing. It's got some roughness to it. The final version is actually got a way more colorful cover. It's literally like the rough sketch of the final things. And there's only 13 of them. That's it. There's gonna be no more made, never existing. I don't even have the originals for it. So it's like, yeah, it's not going to be worth anything. It's not like a Pokemon card, so it sucks for you there. But
oh yeah, I know. I was planning on reselling this with this personal message specifically to me. By the way, check your DMs real quick for that.
Will do. And Aaron, I'm sorry. I don't mean I'm not. I like you. I don't know why I was shitting out. It's just because it's just Vince does it all the time. It feels like to be part of the cool kids club, like Mish was saying, to get in with power.
What are you talking
feels like
about?
Calling you gay is what I'm supposed to do, but I don't have any. Like my heart's not in it.
That's all right. So you don't have to insult me.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, I know. There's not like a shortage of people who won't insult me. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like, you know, cool kids club.
Did you insult me on the internet and like you're worried that somehow I'm offended or something? Or
no, I like insulting people on the internet, but I like it when they deserve it, or at least it's funny. But with yours, it feels more mean spirited. It's like I'm picking on a retarded kid, you know?
Special needs.
I get it. You're kicking a dog while he's down. Yeah.
That's cute, the Canadian telling the American he's special needs. But go on, tell me more.
Oh, it's if you forgive me, we're in Rhodesia right now. It's not a totally different. We're a collapsing state.
That was just perfect.
Yeah. You had the long con all along.
Yeah.
How have you been? How was your week?
It was good. I was snowed in for like 2 days, so I just caught up on video games. I deep cleaned the apartment, so nothing interesting.
Oh, nice. Snow in Texas, sir. You did not tell me about that.
Yeah, snowed in. Like an inch and a half. Tell me what
Yeah.
this snowed in is down there.
2 inches. The
2
thing is that
inches.
the road froze, and you
the
don't
length
want to
of your
be
dick.
on.
All right.
Yeah, you don't want to be on I-30 when the roads are frozen. Too many assholes and almost said it. Too many dumb people
Okay.
on the highways here. So it's better to just give it to the truckers and let them have it, and we'll stay home.
I mean,
I'm okay
Cappy's
with
our
that.
representation. We can say the R word. We have a
Yeah.
safe.
I'll give you guys.
Okay.
Yes.
He's got the
Hey, man.
special. He's got the special hat, so he doesn't run into any walls and hurt
You know,
himself.
you're all
Yeah.
jealous that I got this hat. That's really what it is. That's fine. That's fine. I know. I can translate. I can see through it all. You all jealous of my hat? That's fine.
I'm jealous of the amount of books you've written. Jesus Christ, more than Ryan Stone.
When you're older,
Not yet.
old like me.
True. Hog, how have you been? Tax season is coming soon. You prepared for going back to corporate?
Well, funny enough, it's kind of fortuitous how this worked out because so I just got back down here after 3 weeks of being up north for the Christmas season, and I actually went into my new office for the first time ever yesterday. So this is kind of it meshes in nicely with the discussion we're going to have here today because I've already had to start dealing with the corporate bullshit from day one. But I went in, made my introductions, found the old white guy in the office, so he and I are going to be best friends. And already they're starting with the corporate bullshit of, oh well, we're going to put you in 2 different offices. I'm like, nope, I'm not about this. Nope, this isn't what we agreed to. So I get to write up an email after this one, and I feel like this could be something we can have in the discussion. You can use the talking about corporate Machiavellianism with Niccolo behind us. One of the things you can use to your advantage is, I almost call it like a strategic progressivism for your ends. I'm like, in this email, I'm basically going to write something to the effect of, because my manager is a woman, so you use like woman coded language, like, I don't really feel comfortable going between 2 different offices. I just moved down here. I'm not really familiar with the area. I think I just want to go to one, because the one office is not even a mile away from my place. It's like, I don't want to fucking drive halfway across town in traffic to go to another one so I can work there 1 day a week. Fuck this. So we're going to see how that works. And it should be fine because, man, oh man, Cappy, you and Chad, we keep talking about how there's such a shortage in the accounting business. And my God, my office is bare. There's like 12 desks, only 3 people work there. They are so desperate for people. So like, you can get a job tomorrow if you guys wanted to.
But let me understand that you're in the office at a tax prep place.
Yeah,
for
H&R
the tax
again.
season. All right,
Yeah.
and this is like your last year before you go off and get your EA.
Yeah.
Okay, and they did the bait and switch where they said we're going to have you at this office, and now they lied. And
Yeah, they have me in 2 offices.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah, so I'm like, no, I'm not about that. And especially the other thing too is like, the other office is 1 day a week. It's like fuck this. Like, what's the point? So I got to move all my shit over to a different office just to be there for 1 shift. No, and work and deal with downtown traffic. No.
The most powerful, and Chad will agree. I wish I started using this word earlier on. Is like no, like just no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. That's not what you said.
Mhm.
And it's almost an unconscious. I've never had an employer be 100% fully honest. There was always some fuckery. Oh, we're gonna move you here, or oh, we're gonna have you do this. And if I just learned to say no, that you think, oh, I'm going to lose my job. It's like, no, you're not. I mean, yeah, there's a chance you might, but it's very likely you're not, because they are trying to fuck you over. And it's just an unconscious assumption that they can get away with it. And if you say no, a lot of people don't realize, do these companies exist without employees?
No.
And yes, they can replace you. They could probably find someone within a month, but they're up shit creek until they do. And so it's no different than girls. You establish and enforce the boundaries very early on.
Well, it's not even per se a boundary. It's leverage. It's really leveraging your, not per se worth, but you are leveraging their need for you against them. Where it's like, no, I know you have a shortage, and now you're strong arming me into something I don't want to do. But I don't have to do it because you need me right now a lot.
Yeah, now, it's a cardinal rule.
Yeah, but I
who needs each other more?
Jack. I gotta ask the question: who needs who more? You need the money. I mean, maybe not you. Maybe you have a different, income, but like the regular person, like they do need the 9 to 5 job, so they cannot usually, like, typically they don't stand up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the issues. Like I've seen it happen way too many times.
I
They
think
don't
that's
have any
another thing.
options. They don't have any money saved up. They don't have skills, that can land them jobs easily in the market in a short time. They don't know how to sell themselves, so they're stuck in that job. They do whatever the company asks them for.
Yeah, Mish, I do, because I can imagine how Nuke would write that email to Hawk's manager, like Chat GPT therapy language. That would be an amazing thing, by the way. Chat GPT, write an emotional therapy language to my manager.
Well, the other thing too, I mean, a lot of people complain about like the feminization of the workforce, but I mean, again, about corporate Machiavellianism, you can kind of use this to your advantage in the sense of they want you to roll over, and if you just show any bit of standing up for yourself, people are so afraid of conflict at this point, they'll just give in. I learned this lesson in a very interesting way. I was working at a Dick's Sporting Goods all the way through college.
I bet you
all
worked
4
with
years.
Dick's.
Oh, fuck off. All right. And I'll never forget this. My manager got called down to the front of the store to accept a return from somebody, right? And it's a sporting goods store. Obviously, like, you're only supposed to accept receipts and returns from something that like actually came from your store and your company, right? This guy came in with a pair of Cabela's like hiking boots, right? They're like $150, and it's like Cabela's. They only sell them at a Cabela's, right? Well, this guy threw a big enough of a bitch fit that the manager capitulated and gave him his money back, and he clearly didn't buy it from this store. And that was a very like eye-opening moment for me, where it's like, oh, if you just cause a scene, like, nobody cares about like if Dick's Sporting Goods Corporation lost $150. This manager just wants this guy out of here to send him on his way so he can carry on with his fucking like shitty day, right? So that's very interesting. If you just stand up for yourself, people will give in.
How urban of you.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying.
Mish, I wonder
me. It was somebody else, but yeah.
Mish, how would you handle that situation that Hawk just described? Because you're right, a lot of people can say no to their management because they need the job, they need the money, and they're kind of in that fearful state of loss. So, for your average guy, how would you do that?
Honestly, my advice for the average guy is easy.
Lose them.
You need to work on yourself enough to have the skills that you need to be in the market, so you can say no and stand up for yourself. Until then, just say yes and do whatever they ask you to. I mean, I can't stress on the importance of investing in yourself. I wrote something about this, being jack of all trades. Like, people say specialize in one thing, and okay, specialization is good, but like you're basically, killing yourself. Like, you need to be good at many things. So if you cannot find a job, let's say in HR, you can pivot to accounting. You need to have those skills. So if you're asking me, I would definitely say no, because I do have the options. I have the skills that would land me a job quickly within a month or two maximum. But the average person, no.
Would you advise against looking at the playing field of like, hey, wait a minute, in what position am I? Do they really need me? Or if I say no, how high is the probability of them actually getting back to me of firing me before you say yes?
So it doesn't usually happen that they fire you. They either just, make your life a living hell until you quit.
That happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah, so they don't have to pay any severance, or like any, face with any lawsuits if they fire you. Because firing someone, I don't know about the States, but like over here, if you fire someone, you don't have the grounds to fire him. Your company is fucked.
Yeah, same here. They can sue the ever-loving crap out of you.
Yeah, I did that last year with a company, like an American company over here. Like, they hired me and everything, and after I quit, they fired me during my notice period. That doesn't fly over here. Like, we have laws and regulations that protect the workers and laborers and everything. So I used that against them, and I filed lawsuits, and I won like 200 and something K, like within a month or two. I mean,
nice.
It's funny over here. They know that what they'll do is they'll offer you a more generous severance package in return for you waiving the right to. So at that point, it becomes I took it. It was great. I'm like, dude, you really?
Yeah, they tried to do that. I would have taken it if they gave me the full, severance package. But they tried to cheapen, to be cheap about it. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. You want to fight? Like, I have a lawyer, on standby ready, and he's very good at this stuff. And I just filed a lawsuit and took the money and basically was fucking around for like 3 months, doing nothing, traveling and having fun. Then I started this job. So yeah, honestly, if you ask me like my advice, just be charming. Honestly, be likable. Life will be so much easier for you
100%,
anywhere you go.
100%.
Like let's say in Hawk's situation, let's say his manager is a female, and if he can manage his manager, if she likes him enough, she's not gonna say no to his request. She's gonna make sure that he's comfortable. She's not gonna make him go through traveling all the way to the other side of the town. No, she's gonna say yes, and you would be surprised, dude. Like in my case, for example, I'm supposed to be up at 5 a.m. every day just to go to work at 6 a.m. I show up to the office at 7:30, sometimes 8 a.m. Nobody says shit. They ask me, "Did you sleep well? Are you okay? Are you tired? Like, do you need to go rest?" They bring me my lunch over. Everyone has to go and eat somewhere else. And no, my lunch comes to my office. I have my own personal tea boy over here. Like, yeah, he makes sure that I have coffee throughout the day and water, and they come clean up my office and everything.
Yeah, but the thing is, you didn't start there, right? How you got
Yeah.
there was with being charming and leaving your ego at the door, so to say, because a lot of
Yeah.
guys still want to be right instead of happy. I've seen that
Yes.
so many times in workspaces as well, where it's like, well, what the manager's doing is wrong and it's not productive or whatever. They don't care. They don't care. Management wants to do what it wants to do, and they do not give a crap about your opinion. Learn that, swallow it, and like me said, invest in yourself, preferably via the company. I don't know how you guys do that in the States or wherever in Saudi, but here in the Netherlands, you can your company can invest in your education.
Yeah, we have that over here too.
Yeah, and if you just show enough interest, even though you disagree with him, you can still get a very good diploma out of it. If you want.
Well, you're
Go
not. A lot of it is, and it took me a long time to figure this out. You can't look at it. I don't care what the rules are and what they say your job is and all that other stuff. You have to look at where is this entity, this employer, this company going? It's going this way. No matter what they say otherwise and this is where it's going. And I've learned that you have a choice. You could say, well, that's against the rules, or that's not right. Or you could just put yourself a little turbine in the direction it's going and have the entire momentum of that company work for you. And a perfect example is, if I had just gone along and played, I'd owe myself like 3 or 4 Buc-ee hats by now. That's how much wealthier I'd be. But the whole point is, you're not going to stop this company. You're not going to change the corporate culture. No one. It's middle school. No one gives a fuck about what the rules and anything else are. So you might as well go and make profit. I have seen it, however, because it happens here in the United States, where they're making bad decisions. It's horrible. The company will go bankrupt. The company's going to go bankrupt anyway. It's how much money do you want to make on it while it's going bankrupt? And once you start looking at it from a purely opportunistic and Machiavellian view, then there's a lot less anger and stress that comes with it. But yeah, you do at times, if it's badly managed, it's not going to last forever because it's violating reality. And so you will have to have some kind of plan B. But yeah, I would have come out way ahead. Just, we're going to sell bags of the herp to nuns. Let's do it. Bag of herp for nuns. Let's go.
Nice. Thor, good to see you. How have you been?
Hanging in there, buddy. Appreciate you guys letting me come on. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. A small effort, man. Of course.
Great conversation.
Doing our best. Ryan, administrative violence. Because a lot of, as we just mentioned, a lot of guys always want to be right. But as Mish mentioned, when you say no, when you aren't in a position to say no, a company will make your life living hell until you quit. Unfortunately, I've never been able to find administrative violence by Terrence Pobb. I would have loved to get him on, by the way, for this one.
He's moved it on to, he's making a course for it now. So he probably took down the video, which I'd say it's a good one. Definitely from the parts I learned on it. So the military is a bit of a different beast. You're not wrong. The thing, at least in Canada, is you understand the regulations are always on your side, but a lot of it is theater. So, for example, with mine, the boss just didn't like me. Didn't like me there. I was not used to like the Montreal progressive type. Didn't float well. And his plan was to start all this hullabaloo and then use it to leverage my career manager to get me out of here so this could all go away. The career manager was like, we don't have the bodies for it, so fix it yourself. And because he's lazy, he really was like Trudeau dealing with the country. So really what it took for me was just I had to look at the rules, and it's like literally taking it to the version of the Supreme Court, going in there. That's fine. Corporate was same thing, though. It's the same skill set. So, for example, understanding the law makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. The first company I worked for was in finance. I'll keep it there. Did really well. I started off as a contractor because here you make like twice as much because there's so much of a big benefits package. Mm-hmm. It's like, what would you make 60 grand salaried, or would you make 120 contract? I'll do a contract. And that was the position they had available anyway. So here's the thing. Ontario law says after 2 years, you are required to offer the person a position or let them go. So what they would do is just, well, we'll do a contract. 2 years later, we'll let you go. Then you start like doing a rotation where you start working for the other banks, and then after your 5th contract thing, you come back to this one. It's a way of getting around the law. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the being likable stuff matters, but it wasn't so much being likable because that makes your job at work easier. It's being likable in that the whole time you're at this one contract position, you're essentially interviewing for another contract position that's going to come in 2 years. Because the contractors here are going to move to the other place. They'll suggest to take you with them. It becomes like its own version of an old boys club, mm-hmm. which is interesting. I went a different direction. I took more money and started working for some startups there, which, you know, bad decision, but whatever. Money was good. But I mean, out of all this stuff, I think the biggest lesson is, like you guys were saying, have the FU money, the ability to walk away, the ability to say no. Like if you don't need a paycheck. And I know it's easy to say, well, the trick is just to have money where you don't have to have a job. If you're one of those guys that's not in that position, you're just going to have to eat shit with a smile, man. You're going to have to smile. You're going to have to do what they say. You're going to have to save your money. And when you go to buy that Funko Pop, think to yourself, this demeaning, like they need to treat you as shitty as possible at work. So you get it in your head that I will sacrifice whatever I have to sacrifice, so I am never in this position again. Mm-hmm. And then once you get that, yeah, what are you saying, Clary?
I was just going to say I've always had other jobs like that evolved naturally, whether it's teaching dance class, rental property, whatever. But the number one thing I could tell everyone listening here, even before you pay off your student loans, get yourself at least a 3-month living expense emergency fund or a 6 months living expenses micro fuck you fund. You need to, because you're going to run into unethical bosses, and they will like unacceptably try to fuck you over, and you need to have the 6-month living supply. Say like, no, I'm not dealing with this anymore, goodbye. And having that leverage, you'd be surprised where they give you a low ball offer. I'm like, no, this is too low. I don't need this job. I have 6 months living expenses. But you're absolutely right, Ryan. Having another source of income, some kind of side thing, lowering your expenses as much as possible. And then I would also add, you need 6 months living expenses. It puts you in a way better position. It basically inoculates you from getting screwed over.
Yeah, you want the freedom to say no. That's really it. Mm. It's the same thing. It's like with and same with the red pill thing with sex, right? All these guys talk, oh, my wife's gonna leave me, whatever. If you have a lineup of girls and availability, you have a better chance of saying no. I think people misunderstand how important it is through all of this corporate shit to have freedom. Like that's really the only power guys have, the freedom to walk away, and it really matters.
Well, that's why I like this topic, because it's very. And Mish and I talked about this before. Mish once told me, like, treat your job like a woman. It kind of is true, right? Like, yes, is she treating you right? Is she making you feel good, taking care of you, etc.? Or do you have something better lined up? Like, be attractive, don't be unattractive. Be attractive to other employers, that when your current one is giving you shit, you know, hey, you know what? I can say no to this one, and I could get another one. But that goes back into the investing in yourself, being capable of a lot of things. Like, Nuke, because like you were in the Navy and now are still in nuclear engineering. How's corporate in that sense with you, and how do you navigate that?
I'm not a nuclear engineer. I'm in the data center industry. But
he's a different type of nerd, Jack. Get it right, okay?
What happened to me with my version of administrative violence is that my bosses really liked me, but my coworkers, once I got my license taken away, I pressed enter on or my student or my guy that I was in charge of pressed enter on a laptop and shut down half the plant, right? He pressed the wrong button at the wrong time. And since I was his like trainer, or I was training him, it was my fault, accountability, whatever. So I got removed from watch for 10 weeks, and then I got reinstated, and then the ship had an emergency where both nuclear plants were shutting down. My buddy was in the other plant operating that one. So the whole ship was in Russia infested waters. And I decided not to shut down the plant, even though the procedure said shut down the plant and go dead in the water, which for you got non-Navy bros, is like one of the worst things that can happen to a ship is going dead in the water. Right. So I did that, and then I got removed again. I was thanked by everyone in my department, like, you did the right thing. But since I violated protocol, they took my license away again. So all my coworkers hated me because they had to do more work. So my coworkers ended up hating me, even though I saved a lot of paperwork and a lot of people from doing extra work. And my bosses loved it. They were like, hey, sorry this is happening to you, but rules are rules. So it's kind of like you won't ever win, even if you do the right thing. And I think a lot of guys need to understand, in terms of like corporate or whatever job structure, is that don't expect that doing the right thing or working hard is going to get you like this protection from, the powers that be. You could be the hardest worker at the company, and you can still get fucked. You can be the laziest guy at the company and still get fucked. So just play it day by day, and keep your ear to the ground in terms of like what's happening in your company. Like right now, my company is one of the 500 best places to work in America, according to Forbes. So, that means that things are good and I could chill. I don't have to like desperately search for another job. But at the same time, any day I could get fired. So just, like one of the guys said, treat your job like a woman, right? She's not yours. It's just your turn. Enjoy it if you have a good job, and then realize that it can get taken away from you, or it can get shitty overnight. And just, don't get too comfortable. Always be adding to that resume. If your job's paying for training for you that will make you more valuable to other employers, fucking take it immediately. Like, it's free. It's free training to make you more valuable. Like, take it, run with it, and then realize that they're fucking themselves. They're taking a risk by training you. Just take it, pretty much.
I would say, especially with the two guys on the top left of the screen, Nuke and Red Hawk, they epitomize two things you can do to really make this go away, or to lessen it, not make it go away, but to lessen it. Nuke has an indispensable skill, high-level computer networking job, and Red Hawk is going to be self-employed. So if you are going to work for someone else, you want a high and valuable skill. And Chad's right, also be, jack of all trades, like can you fix the printer and all this other shit, or go in and switch into other fields. But if you have an indispensable skill or you're self-employed, a lot of this goes away. I mean, because Nuke, how many companies would go down if you just decide to walk off the job? I mean, some people would be fucked if you just left, right?
Well, I got called in to do some IT work and some MRI room work, and if I didn't fix it, they couldn't operate and save someone's life. So they'd have to call someone from another state to like fix the uninterruptible power supply, or else somebody would have come in with a stab wound or a shot from an accident, and they wouldn't be able to operate in that room. So, yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Know your value to the company. Like, be very honest with yourself. Like, if I left, how hard would it be to replace me? And or how, not in the long run, but like that week. Like, if you walked off the company with a company like go up in flames for a week, and that's how you know how valuable you are. Because anyone can be replaced. Like, there's plenty of us. We're not really that important in the grand scheme of things. But if you left the job that week, would they lose millions of dollars in clients or revenue and everything because you decided, hey, I'm not going to go to this super giant client like Microsoft or AT&T and do work. You're going to have to figure it out. So, yeah.
Fair. Thor, you were in management. What did you used to look at, or how would you, what's the word I'm looking for here? Evaluate good workers, and what would you pay attention to if somebody was up for promotion? And like, what were the honest things you were looking for? Was it mostly likability, or was it capability, or both?
Well, it's a mix of both, but really what value they bring. The less problems they bring for me, the more problems they solve for the team. That's what I'm looking for. Someone that's a self-starter and that can solve problems without my involvement.
And problems like workforce related or also work team related?
Both. I mean, you need people that can get along, people that can see problems coming and solve them before they become issues, and that's always a challenge. Most people just want to go to work. They stay very focused in a narrow lane and then leave. And that's understandable. But that's the challenge being in management, is trying to mentor and bring somebody along that could actually make decisions like you. And that's what you want on your teams.
Nice. Mish, you have to go. Could you give a real quick your view on administrative violence and then hop off if you still have the time?
So I haven't used it that much, honestly, in my career. Maybe a few times. If I'm not mistaken, was it Ryan? Was it that article with the clip from Kill Bill, right?
Which one?
Administrative violence.
Terrence Popp's video. I don't remember he had the Kill Bill thing on it.
I think I've read an article about it. If it's the same one I'm thinking about, but yeah, it's I haven't used it that much, honestly, in my career. I'm not that, kind of a guy who would just lose his shit in the office, because I've learned the hard way, if you administer violence the same way, like in that topic, it usually doesn't end well unless you're in a very high position, C-suite position. These guys are fucking psychopaths. They can't do that shit. But for the 99% of the people, no, you don't want to yell, you don't want to administrate violence like Terrence Poppins, advice. You just want to avoid having any issues, someone complaining about you that you don't, because I've had that complaint, said about me. Someone called me a psychopath because they tried to piss me off and I was just laughing and drinking my own coffee. So,
but that is
imagine
right?
if I just flipped and shown a little bit of violence or just yelled or raised my voice, she would have just accused me of rape.
Well, that is the best course of action, right? It's almost like judo. You use their own thing against them, because by you staying calm, you make them look like the idiot.
Yeah, I'll give you an example for that. So it's a recent one that happened this year. So when I joined this job, one of the guys, he was for some reason jealous, I think, or maybe afraid that I will take his position. And that wasn't my goal. Like, the guy isn't in the, okay, we're in the same department, but he's handling different things, things I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. So I'm happy where he is, but like, for some reason he started spreading rumors about me. He tried to sabotage everything that I do. All the shitty things that a human could do, at the workplace. I could have just smashed the guy, literally, and through work and like even force if I wanted to, but I chose the other way. Like, I played politics. I lobbied people. Like, I made sure that all the managers, all the C-suite people, even the CEO, they all loved me. So whenever rumors spread, nobody believed it. Like a couple of days ago, my manager told me, "I trust you so much. If someone came and told me that you did something wrong and it was true, I wouldn't believe them."
Well, that's the thing, right? Because you've built up that good rapport with them. You've invested in them. They know your character about them. I've had those things happen with me at work right now. Like, we got a couple of members, they want to start some shit because I've always been so open with my manager, and just not too honest, of course, but just charming, honest, etc. Some members started rumors as well, and the first thing she said when they heard their names was, "God, here we go again." Because she already knew what was going on. She's like, "Jack, don't worry. I know who's saying it. I know who it's about. I know you. You don't need to worry." It's like, what more could you want? You don't even need to worry about what's going around anymore. Or you can do a lot
of bureaucracy. Military was weird for that one. We had one of those chicks, and everybody knew it was bullshit. But as soon as the accusation was made, because command said his priority, well, now I'm forced. My hand is forced. We have to go through the motions. Did I tell you that story about how the girl tried charging our whole department with sexual harassment because she got drunk and felt embarrassed?
Oh, yeah. But go ahead, do tell.
Well, it was just they were in Guam. and everybody got drunk and they were all hanging out as the department. She's like, "Do you guys think I'm pretty?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course you're pretty. Whatever." 'Cause, guys just gas them up. Next day, she got embarrassed, tried charging the whole department with sexual harassment. And then once the word got around, luckily we had a corrupt chief who just kind of swept it underneath the rug. But and then the next time there was a foreign port, it was San Diego, and everybody's like, "Yeah, I'm not." Everybody just ditched her. And then she tried charging the whole department with harassment again for ignoring her and leaving her be. So they eventually shipped her off to Halifax. But that, like I said, if it wasn't for the old boys club we had there, those guys would have been fucked. Because the process would have done enough damage that it would set their career back for like 3 to 5 years. So a lot of this, like, Mish, absolutely right. But you got to remember, too, if you're working in more of a government position would be a good example, public service, or any one that's big enough to have a bureaucracy, a lot of this stuff kind of doesn't apply. It's almost like luck of the draw, which is a little depressing.
Ryan,
but
I would disagree a little bit with that because it's.
I wish you would.
Yeah, because it's so the thing is, I noticed even over here in the government, like if you were talking, a decade ago, I would have agreed with you. But now even here, the government sector is like a corporate world. Like, before employees never had an annual appraisal. But now even the government sector has that, and people are getting fired when they don't perform well. So even when it comes to the government, over here, dude, they don't fuck around.
Maybe
So
Trump
even
really
even
did make
here,
it
when it
better.
comes to the
Trump made it better.
when it comes to the government over here, no, it's the same thing. Like, I've seen it happen, like the same thing in the private businesses, in the corporate world. You have to lobby, you have to have people liking you, and the best thing you could do is just to find someone who's have good influence and have good connections. Like, let's say your manager, for example, and be just irreplaceable to him. So whenever he goes, he's gonna take you with him. That's one of the ways that you can assure that you're always gonna have a job. Oh yeah, I work with this guy, I like him, I love him, let's hire him. I've seen it happen way too many times.
That's
it happens, right? And especially like you both mentioned, the guy who is likable when a complaint or when a rumor starts, it's the halo effect. The halo effect proves right all the time. Well, no, wait, that isn't the halo effect. Which one am I thinking of?
No, you think of the halo effect, where if somebody likes you because you're attractive or whatever, and they'll treat you better.
But it's not per se because you're attractive, it's because you're charming in that sense, where it's like, yeah, you've made that emotional investment, and as soon as somebody starts talking shit about you, it's like, no, I like that guy. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Could almost get away with murder. Wouldn't say you would, but, for figuratively speaking, sort of say.
Figurative murder.
In Minecraft. See that Minecraft over there? Mish, you gotta go?
Yeah, anyway, I wish I could stay, but I do have a class that started like 10 minutes ago, so I need to catch up on that. But yeah, have fun, guys, and enjoy the topic. It's a nice topic. I love it.
Thank you for hopping in, man.
Yeah. See you, Habibi. Be well.
Take care, boys. Bye-bye.
Mishala. So, Hog, you got any stories other than the Boots one about administrative violence?
No, not really. I mean, one of the things I really want to fight back about this perceived wisdom, and I wish Cappy was still here because I know he would have a bunch to say about this. Funny enough, we were just talking about this on Red Morning, me and Ryan, but I have nothing but unending praise for that clip that Cappy uses at the beginning of his videos, where it's the great one talking about boomers. He's like, "God, I hate boomers." One of the things I want to push back on so much is this: pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's like this just perceived wisdom. They just walk around and you send out like 1,000 resumes, and you walk in and just really firmly shake the guy's hand. That's going to get you a secure job for the next 30 years, and you're going to have your pension and have your white picket fence. I mean, it's just not like that anymore. We're in a globalized world. However much like that sucks. Like you have to compete with Rajesh, who's going to work for 2 cents an hour. So it's a problem that you have to deal with. So you have to work smart, not hard. And working smart might entail doing things that other people would have said in previous ages. Like, it's like do you guys remember like 30 years ago when it was like frowned upon if you were like job hopping on your resume?
I'm sorry, I was 4 years old.
Now.
I didn't have a job. I was a lazy bum. I know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Ryan's right. It's like yeah, like basically the only way you get a raise is if you like switch jobs and go to another place. It's like that is a nice thing that literally nobody cares anymore. It's like if you have like a shitload of jobs, because people just realize that the job market and the corporate structure has changed so much. But yeah, this like pull yourself up by your bootstrap stuff is ridiculous.
Kind of is. Even with capability, I remember my semi-government job when I worked there. I love my manager there. He was an old Navy guy, and my results were good. They weren't great, but they were just good, and I didn't cause any trouble and whatever. And he found out I had the same political opinion as he had. And if you work in the government, you might know globally most government workers are terribly, terribly liberal. And he found out I was kind of right-leaning, and it was a hilarious story how he found out. One day we were talking Brexit. He's like, "Well, every now and then I read alternative news sites for their perspective of Brexit. Not conspiracy theory. Don't worry, but
I love saying alternative. It's just code for right wing.
Exactly. And I was like, well, every now and then I also read alternative news outlets. He said, "Oh, is that so?" And then he just started asking me different questions about right-wing media, and we knew. But the thing was, every now and then, I looked at what needed to be done, and I looked at the outcome. So, like, I don't care how I do it. I care that I do it, and I care about the outcome. Middle management hated that. Middle management absolutely hated it because they had protocol, and we need to do it like this, and everybody does it like that, so you can do it your way. Well, I still did it, and I got the results, and the results were good. And I remember my manager one day coming at me. He's like, "Jack, listen, your results are great, but here's the thing. Middle management is hounding me, so I need you to shut up. If middle management comes to you, you will say yes, you will nod your head, and you will tell them you will do everything they say. And then you're just going to do what you do. At the end of the day, I've got the final word. You're safe. But for the love of God, do not argue with these people." That's all he wanted from me. That's all he wanted.
Well, yeah, just don't make his job harder.
Yeah, don't make it harder on yourself.
I think another thing that is required viewing for anybody who's in the job market today, and this movie was just so ahead of its time, is Office Space. Yes, required viewing. The movie is perfect. Perfectly describes corporate America.
What exactly do you do here?
Yeah.
I'm just worried about the stapler guy. Every job has that stapler guy, and you're just like, be nice to that guy, give him treats, like ask him to lunch sometimes because you never know.
That's Dante on Real Zero.
Nah, I have a guy like that at work. We're like, why is he here? Well, he's nice. It's like, yeah, okay, but what else?
As if they fired him, he'd burn the place down. That's why he's still there.
What's this about your TPS reports, Jack?
I know. Nuke, how about you? You got any more Office stories? And then after that one, we're going to wrap it up. Then Ryan can
depends on what flavor. We have the typical sexual harassment one. We have the typical asshole gets promoted, and then or like shitty employee gets promoted and then starts acting like they were competent all along. There's that one. There's like one of your friends gets promoted and they get so stressed and they become an asshole to everyone. There's that one. Like there's so many flavors. Office. I don't think humans were meant to work in an office. It messes with our psyche. But I will say one of the things that I learned quickly was like being competent is like good luck, dude. If you're good at your job and you take on a lot of work, they will give you everything. Like they will not stop giving you. And if you're really, really good at your job, they're gonna see. They make bets on you on how fast you can do stuff in the higher ups. Like I heard that people were saying that I would do this nuclear startup in 30 minutes. Another guy was like, my guy was gonna do it in 26, and they would take bets on who would do work faster. And it sucked because in my young egotistical mind, I was like, oh cool, they think I'm awesome and they think I'm competent. And I'm like, yeah, they do, but they also think that they can fuck you because they're playing to your ego. So you just gotta know when to like, hey, I'm getting fucked here. I'm done with this. I'm just gonna play it cool. I'm gonna tone down the whole I'm the best at what I do thing. and until they give me a break. But there is a benefit where there were times where I would sleep during the workday when I was deployed, which is not always the best thing to do. But my boss would yank me by my leg and be like, "Hey, we got muster." I thought he was going to yell at me, but he was just like, because he knew that whatever happened, he could count on me. So it's kind of like you get this benefit where like you're the go-to guy, but you get to sleep and fuck off sometimes from
Fucking
time to time.
skate.
Yeah, you could skate. Yeah, you could be a skater. But the thing is, you gotta skate intelligently, and you have to at least once in a while do something legendary, and then you could skate a little bit, and then back to doing something cool, and then skate. It's a tightrope.
Well, it is. It is. About the capable workers, though. I remember one time, also at the Severai government job, we had one lady. She had the best results out of everybody, but she was always stressed. Like, always. You couldn't even talk to her because she was busy with work, and nobody liked her. Like, nobody liked her, but she was so amazingly good at her job. I remember one time I needed my manager, but she was in there and she was yelling at him and whatever, and she stormed out his office. And I looked after her, and I look at him. And he's like, don't worry about it. She's autistic. What can I do for you? Jesus. That's how we talked about her. But even then, nobody liked her. She still had the best results, and she was allowed to stay. However, this was also because she was on contract. I don't know how that works in the States or Canada. Like here, you have temporary contracts, like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And after that, you have to be put on permanently, like a permanent employer. And she had one of those. But if she had like a temporary contract, she would have been the first to go. Like, even though she was so good at her job. Was insane. Was called autistic by the manager. Did not give a shit at all. So the whole being capable above all thing, yeah, it's a horrible strategy.
Yeah, I mean, be capable enough so if shit happens, you avoid like a big everyone getting fired, or if you get caught doing something stupid, at least you have some leverage where they're like, hey, he does his job. So, but for the most part, like even if you're like the best at your company, you can get fired. The company has to worry about their image, like the military has to worry about its image too. There was a very capable officer who was a pilot, and when we pulled into Greece, he stole a taxi cab and then ended up crashing into a ditch. There's nothing you can do there. You could be the best pilot in the Navy. You do that and you got to go. So, yeah.
It tends to happen. Tends to happen a lot. I think we've covered everything. Let's do some final thoughts, wrap it up, and then we can get out of here and celebrate our weekends. Hawk, final thoughts, and what are your plans? Where can people find you?
Well, I guess the final thoughts is TLDR. Like we were saying earlier, be attractive, don't be unattractive. Doesn't just apply to looks, money, game, right? It applies in the workforce. You'd be amazed the kind of stuff that you can get away with if people like you. Be amazed the kind of stuff that you can get away with if you use some of these corporate Machiavellian tactics. And to be honest, these are the kinds of topics on Rule Zero I love the most, because this is like the actual, this is really the actionable advice that really helps dudes in the workforce. All of us have to have a job, and you're going to spend an inordinate amount of time in the workforce in your life, and this shit could really help you guys. So take heed.
Even online, right? If you're a content creator, know who you can and cannot piss off every now and then.
Yeah, good points.
That's why I compliment Ryan. I actually think he's a sack of shit, but
Fucking weirdo.
Final thoughts
for me?
Yeah, from you.
Just Machiavellian, man. You've really got to. What's the word I'm looking for here? You got to not care. You got to be cynical. You have to assume that nobody actually wants things to get done. Like, that's your goal as a guy. You're like, oh, you want to be the best guy. You want to serve the thing. It's all feminized now. It's all about, like, the greatest red pill article I think you can find is the female social matrix by Ian Ironwood. It's kind of what you're working with now. Just do that.
Okay.
That's the last thoughts.
Okay. Anything coming up? Enough.
Well, I mean, obviously the Dog Walker is coming out. It's going to be out in Valentine's. But today I have free copies of Dread. Free copies for the weekend. I think it's I don't know how it works. Just go to the Amazon page. You'll see it there. And that's it for me.
Okay, hold up. I'll put that in the chat. Nuke, go ahead, buddy.
You want my final? Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Focus on being competent. Don't take yourself too seriously at work. You know, uh, don't mess with the women. Don't sleep with the women. I know that's really easy advice to say, but very hard to follow. I see it all the time. Stay away from the women. Um, and don't be impaired. Don't go to work parties and be drunk. Don't your social media, keep it tight and under wraps. Um, which is harder to do than you think these days. And be ready, have a plan to exit because you never know. You just never know. You'll be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and you said something about a certain race you didn't, and then you get fired because your boss is that race or something like that. Who knows? And then what I got coming up, fashion guides on Gumroad. It's in the I'll put it in the chat. And then follow
Gotcha.
Substack. That's all I got.
There you go. Link to chat statics is in the chat. There you go. Thor, if you're still there, any final thoughts on what you got coming up? If he's still there.
I think he stepped off or he muted.
That's okay. For me, some final thoughts. Like Mish mentioned, treat your job like a woman. Be prepared. Be attractive. Don't be unattractive. Like just because your current job is treating you like shit doesn't mean there isn't a better job out there. Become capable, of course, but also focus on that the people in charge actually like you to a degree. Like you don't have to be friends with them, but just make sure that when trouble arises, they know, well, it couldn't be him because we know he's capable, he's likable, charming, and he's competent.
Don't fucking complain in the office. Like, do not do that.
Do not complain at all. That's the big one. When shit happens and you start complaining, that's the worst thing you can do. Handle it. Just handle it. Same with apologies and shit like that, where it's like, I won't do it again. Don't linger on it. Be like, well, yeah, I did it. Won't happen again.
So beers are for after work. That's where the bitching goes. To your buddies.
No.
Not to your boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Who cares about your ego in the workplace? You don't need to get in fights with coworkers or bosses. It's like, who fucking cares?
Some further reading I would recommend on this one. Of course, 48 Laws of Power, things like that. Corporate World by Sevi Frank. Office Politics by, and I just put his name in the chat. Where is it? Just look up Office Politics, the book. And of course, Misha's Substack, Chat of Arabia, right here. As for me, where can people find you? Well, right here. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below your thoughts of this show. And of course, follow me on the Substack. I just released a new one this very morning about high-value women and why we should really stop this this egalitarian thing of like, well, if there's a high-value man, there's got to be a high-value woman. The high-value woman is thin, big-breasted, and blonde. There you go. There she is. That's it from us. Hawk, take us out.
Toodles.
Bye.